I lost so much weight so fast. Are you kidding me? I did it for a week and I didn't lose anything. Hello friends, this video is all about the carnivore diet. It's part of the series that I'm doing on how I managed to lose 35 pounds post-menopause. Carnivore was responsible for losing 12 pounds over about a 4-week period. I'm going to share my experience with you. We're going to talk about what exactly is the carnivore diet, my specific experience with it, and as the intro indicated, it's kind of been all over the map, and what you might expect if you choose to do it. I am not a medical professional of any kind. I am just sharing my experience with you, and if you're thinking about doing carnivore, I encourage you to consult a medical professional. Exactly what is carnivore? Well, carnivore, you eat meat. Is it meat? No? Don't eat it. Honestly, it's kind of that simple. I mean, you can do eggs, dairies, kind of, maybe. It depends on how you react to dairy. I'm going to tell you what I eat and my results. For breakfast, I either have a pork chop or eggs. And for eggs, I buy pasture-raised, certified humane eggs. Oh my gosh, if you have not treated yourself to these eggs, they are so tasty. The yolks are this golden orange color, and it varies with the seasons, and honestly, you get so much more of the good stuff from pasture-raised eggs than you do from regular ones. Eggs are super healthy for you. They contain vitamin K2, which is actually something I take in supplement form because studies are showing that it helps prevent bone loss as we get older. It's also super good for cardio health. They're a good source of omega-3, which of course is really good for our brains and reduces inflammation in our bodies. Vitamin E, that leads to a healthy immune system. Choline, which is super important for cell structure and communication. Cholesterol, which is absolutely essential in order for our bodies to absorb fat absorbable vitamins and minerals. If you're about my age, then you came up in the 80s and cholesterol was the villain, and we had SnackWells and we had all this stuff, and all it did was pump up the sugar. Well, eating cholesterol doesn't cause cholesterol, and it is super important for our overall health. And lastly, eggs contain selenium, which is really important for thyroid health. The other thing I will have for breakfast, and I will say I do intermittent fasting on top of carnivore when I'm doing it, and so breakfast usually comes around 10 or 11. It is my first meal of the day. So the other thing that I will have if I'm not having eggs is have a pork chop. Pork is really high in thiamine, which is good for metabolism and digestion. It also helps the nervous system. Selenium for thyroid health. Riboflavin that helps the body create energy. Zinc, which is good for metabolism, digestion, and helping out the nervous system. And phosphorus, which is key for strong bones and teeth. Something super important post-menopause. I have been surprised at how full strict protein keeps me. 4 eggs at 10 o'clock in the morning usually will last me no problem until about 4 in the afternoon. Here's where I deviate a little bit from strict carnivore. I really like peanuts. And so if I get hungry around 4 or 5 in the afternoon and it's too early for dinner, I will have a couple handfuls of peanuts. I know strict carnivore, I should probably have some bacon or another egg or a little bit of chicken, but hey, I'm sharing with you my experience. Those peanuts are enough then to last me through to dinner, and I haven't experienced negative effects when I've done this. And then my favorite for dinner is a big old steak, preferably a ribeye, something with a lot of fat in it. Fat in this diet is so important. This is not where you want lean cuts of meat. Beef, of course, is very high in iron, and not just iron, but it's iron in a form that our body absorbs readily. You know, when we take an iron supplement, especially a pill, I know anecdotally that is not super available for our bodies. Our bodies don't readily absorb that. So, you know, if you're at all anemic or anything, beef or a liquid form of iron is really a whole lot better. Beef has creatine, which helps the muscles produce energy. It has something called CLA, which is only found in ruminant animals, and this is something that promotes fat loss. It also helps build muscle. Beef is good for niacin, which is good for creating energy from your body, and zinc, selenium, and omega-3. And that's it. That takes me through my day, all the way through to the next morning. I really don't get hungry. It's very satisfying. Now, I will say, at times, I've gotten a little sick of steak. It's true. So I've tried some of the steak seasonings that I've found at Costco. I just discovered smoked salt, and that adds a really beautiful flavor. My preference is for doing steaks on the grill. So even here in Seattle, when I'm grilling in the rain, that's what I do. For pork, I like this Creole seasoning. I also put paprika, salt, and pepper on. Let's talk about results. The first time I ever did carnivore was on that journey losing 35 total pounds. Bright line eating is what I used to lose the first 18. I've got a video on it. It's linked down below. You can watch it after this one. And then carnivore was responsible for me losing the next 12 pounds. I did it over about 4 weeks. I will say the first few days on carnivore, it is not unusual for me to drop a pound and a half a day for 3 days. Then it typically slows down to about half a pound a day. So there can be really rapid weight loss. And I think the more you weigh, the more fat you have on your body, the faster that will go. Because when you're not eating any carbs, your body has to turn to the fat stores to burn for energy. I don't have any major underlying health issues. I know that there are a lot of people who turn to a carnivore diet because they're trying to regulate diabetes. If they're pre-diabetic, keep themselves from getting full-blown diabetes, using it for some cancer protocols. All of that is outside my scope of experience and this video, and I urge you to contact a medical provider if that is your case. Carnivore has been a really important tool in kind of my arsenal of weight loss tools. I've really liked it because if I've gotten up at the high end of my tolerance band or out of it, then usually a few days of carnivore brings me right back. I'm a fan of the Dukan Diet. This is a diet developed by Dr. Pierre Dukan out of France, and the first part of it is carnivore. Now, he says you do carnivore just for a few days, just to get your inflammation under control, start that fat-burning furnace, and then the next phase in his diet is you move into alternating strictly carnivore days with carnivore and veggies. And you do that until you get to your goal weight. And I think that's a pretty smart way to do this. We haven't talked at all about kind of what are the overall health ramifications when you're not eating any carbs, any fruit, any vegetables. I don't use carnivore as a long-term eating solution. I only use it episodically. and so I don't feel the need to supplement a lot. Do sometimes take a potassium supplement. I find after a few days I might be prone to leg cramps, and a little extra potassium goes a long way to fixing that. Like I mentioned, it's one tool in my weight loss set, and I typically now use it just for a few days to kind of pull myself back in to range. Having said that, the first time I lost all this weight was coming up on 2 years ago. And I loved it because if I had kind of a celebration weekend, went a little crazy with alcohol, sugar fell in my face, I could just do carnivore for a couple days, bring myself right back in. Well, after about a year, maybe a year and a half, it stopped working. I would do 3 days of carnivore, 4 days, and not lose any weight. I'd do a week and maybe lose 1 pound. Now, I know there are some diet programs where if you lose a pound a week, that's woohoo, big celebration. But that was not my carnivore experience. I found it really frustrating that I was being really pristine and not dropping more weight more quickly. So I walked away from it. I didn't do it for about 8 months. And that seemed to be the reset that my body needed, because now I've come back to it twice in the last couple of months, and it seems to be working for me again. So I think if you're brand new to carnivore, you're going to see results. If you're coming off of keto going into carnivore, it's going to be a little bit easier on your body than if you're coming off of the standard American diet and going to carnivore. The bigger the shift is for your body, the more side effects you're likely to feel. That can be things like keto flu, headaches, brain fog, muscle ache. Rest assured, all of that will go away as your body adapts. It just might take a few days. Here are my tips for making carnivore a success for you. If you've got somebody that you can do this with so you can support each other, do that. I got my husband to lose 45 pounds, and he did it mostly on carnivore, and now has switched over to keto. But having him as a partner in this when he's not bringing home food I can't eat was super helpful. If your spouse or your partner won't do it with you, maybe you've got a friend. You can support each other, phone calls, texting when things get tough. It's really nice to have somebody you're going through it with. My second tip, this is the time to enjoy bacon, butter, steak, eggs, all these things that like typical diets say are absolute no-nos. That is all we're eating. Enjoy it. My third tip, keep your eye on the prize, right? Whether that's the scale, it's a piece of clothing that you're trying to fit into again. It's just feeling better, feeling more energetic. Whatever the reason is that's driving you to do this, keep that in focus. And my fourth tip, make sure you're eating enough fat. This is not the time for lean cuts of meat. Use that butter, get the ribeye. Fat is so important for us, for our brain, and it's so satisfying. It will keep you full longer. Have you ever done carnivore? If you have, leave it in the comments down below. Let me know how it worked for you. As I mentioned earlier, Bright Line Eating was responsible for the first 18 out of the 35 pounds I lost. If you didn't see that video, it is linked right here, and it'll be linked in the moment along with a playlist of all my health-related videos.